Happy Friendsgiving. Hi, and welcome to Knitting Monologues. I'm Lorian. This is episode 18, and I'm glad you're here with me. If you're new, thanks for checking things out, and if you're back, thanks for returning. It is Wednesday, November 27th, and it is the day before Thanksgiving in the US, and for several years, we've hosted a Friendsgiving this day. The thought being that if you're cooking for Thanksgiving, the last thing you want to do is have to plan dinner the night before. And so you just come over, it's a potluck. If you're not cooking, then bring a dish. And it's very, very relaxed. Like I said, we've been doing it a few years and it's fun. And we probably have only about 14 people or so tonight. So for us, that's pretty manageable. It has a definite like start time or come when you can, no dress code, like be casual, it's totally fine. And we do try to wrap it up around 9 o'clock so that we can clean up. It's not a late night because we usually have an early day the next day. But this year, my college kids are home and it's just gonna be my husband and my kids and myself, and we are taking out the rest of our actual Thanksgiving day. So I am coming to you with a typical podcast. I do have my plans for 2025 together, but I'm going to do a special episode for that. So let's get into what I have been working on. The first is what I'm wearing. So this is a cardigan. I steeked it. It's a pretty basic. I have some finishing work to do. Accountability here. I have ends to weave in and the steek panel to kind of get probably tacked down. And I want to do a little bit of blocking on this edge here and this edge here. But super happy with this. This is a design that I put the pieces together on. So this colorwork motif is from Alistair Moore's book of Fair Isle Knitting. The yarns, let's see, the gray and the cream are Olympia Farm. There we go. Yarn, it's their worsted. And it's a really nice put up. It's over 100 grams per skein. It's about 240 yards. I want to say they're about 120 gram put ups. I used almost all of 4 of the gray, and I have 1 of the cream from them. And then the red yarn is from Galler Yarns. Here is the tag here, Galler Yarns. And the base is called Wool You Be My Baby. And the colorway is called Valentine. I purchased the red at Yarn Farm Kingston when I was there last March. And this yarn is 75 merino, no, I'm wrong. This is not what I used in this. I've used this color in 2 sweaters. Actually, I've used red in 3, so I guess I'm in a red phase. This yarn is Ullcentrum, and I don't have the tag handy, but that is a yarn, I believe, from Sweden. I purchased it at the Woolly Thistle. Here's their logo, because I really wanted a very, I don't know, I guess I would say understated. To me, this is understated look, but a very kind of traditional cardigan, and I needed buttons, and I knew I was gonna end up going back to them for buttons. And they have beautiful, I think they call them Norwegian pewter buttons. I'm gonna take one out of the package so I can show you, of a couple of different sizes. So that one has, there we go, this little swirl motif. This design was called Tele, T-E-L-E, and they're 22 millimeters. They have, I think they have 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 size. Here again is the Woolly Thistle. So I just ordered 2 packs. They come in packs of 3. I needed 4 of the 6 buttons. And gosh, we could talk a bit about button bands and how do you know where to place your buttons. I've never taken a class on that. If I've knit a cardigan that had buttons, I just followed the directions. And I got the last part of this sweater, which I knit in the round. I used Andrea Mowry's Throw Back which is knit flat, but I used that because I had it in my library for sort of stitch counts, for sizing, but I knitted in the round. Hers is knit flat. I added a steek panel. I did the increases, decided where I wanted to put this colorwork motif, decided where to drop the sleeves to, and then just mostly did the decreasing on my own. So it is a top-down colorwork sweater. I started before the collar, so you add the collar at the end, which is also ribbing here. For the bind off for the cuffs and the waist, you can see I have this beautiful, nice ribbed edge, kind of wrapped edge, rounded bind off. That is not a tubular bind off. I think it might be a sewn, like a purl stitch sewn bind off. I talked about it on my Instagram account. I saw it at Ruke, R-U-K-E official, or Ruke official, which I believe is a European knitting resource. Maybe patterns, yarns, kits, I'm not totally sure, but I think they sell, their pricing is not US dollars from what I recall. But they had a very brief like demonstration, not even tutorial, because there is no explanation through it, of a bind off, and I thought that looks really simple and elegant, and I'm gonna try that. I'm really happy with it. So I used it on the cuffs, I used it at the waist, and I've used it on some of my other works in progress. So other than a little bit of finishing, I added these little stripes. I just wanted to bring the colors back in of the red and the cream. Other than, like, I love this. To me, it's exactly what I hoped it would be as far as being this kind of elegant, basic cardigan. And I've wanted to add some more cardigans to my wardrobe. Boy, when you've been knitting and fingering and sport weight all spring and summer, coming into fall and finding some worsted weight yarn projects, they fly. So I'm very happy with this. To me, it's finished, even though it has a little bit more finishing to do. I am tempted to, I'm not gonna open, well, I can open this one. Let me also tell you, the button band, I did a 1-row button band, and I used the YouTube tutorial from Chili Dog. There are a few tutorials on that. It was very, see some strings here. It was really interesting, and I needed to have the button sewn down in order to figure out where to put the buttonholes on the whole side. But this steek panel, I usually just tack them down with the yarn, and I might still do that. I know you can also buy some pretty ribbon and like sew it with a sewing machine, which I don't have, so I'd have to convince a friend to do that for me. I don't know. I'm tempted to, but I also kind of just want to be done. So that's this sweater. All right, one finish, more or less. I have 2 other sweaters in the works, and I've honestly been working quite a lot on this one, and so I don't think I had too much done the last time I showed you on episode 17. So this is the back. This is another cardigan, again, more red. It's knit in weekend wool, and I'm showing you the back because I don't have the neck and button band done. So it's a lot of strings, and it's a lot of just kind of using your imagination of how it's going to turn out. So let's look at the back again. Like I said, all of this yarn was left over from other sweater projects. It is a bottom-up design. I did an alternating cable cast on here. So that's like the cable cast on, but you add stitches in both a knit direction and a purl direction. And that is also kind of a rounded edge. I'm very happy with that cast on for my 1x1 ribbing, which I did a twisted rib. I think the pattern doesn't call for that, but I was good with it. So I had a ton of Green Mountain Spinnery weekend wool, which is worsted / Aran weight. I have knit a sweater in, which all of this I think I got from a destash. Of these colors, I have a sweater in this tan. The tan is just a couple of random stripes, one on each side, one on each sleeve. I have a sweater in this cream color. I have a sweater in this red color. The tan sweater has some of the blue as an accent color. So the leftovers from 3 sweaters came together to become a 4th sweater. And And I think it's really fun. I almost did something different with the sleeves. I almost did the sleeves just blue and white stripes on each, and I just felt it sort of took the balance away from the rest of the sweater. I don't have enough red. It would have been my preference probably to use the red for the neck / button band, which you add on separately. You knit completely around and then attach according to the pattern. I think I'm gonna do it in blue. I think the white is just too bright. I have enough left of each of those to do that. And buttons, I'm not totally sure. So this is a bottom-up drop sleeve construction, and every project in this pattern, the Leith cardigan, looks different because you can use whatever colors, you can do whatever striping pattern, you can do textures, you can do, I did 12 row stripes, and I knitted the body longer than the pattern calls for, I think by about an inch. My sleeves are a little longer, which is unusual for me, but I just wanted to get a certain length down. And you know, this sleeve, the sleeves are a little bit different looking because one has just a longer edge of red and one has this gray, this tan stripe where this red starts. And then they both have red cuffs. It was important to me to kind of have them look finished together. I think this yarn wears super well. It's a substantial cardigan. When I block it, it's going to be like a big wet dog. It's going to be heavy. So, and I haven't used the red and the white in a sweater. I used red with a gray before in a mostly red sweater. I don't remember it running. So it doesn't really need an aggressive blocking. I have to see how the neckband goes. I may just steam block it just to save myself the stress of possibly putting red and cream together and having any running of the dye. But that is nearly finished. And then we've got the Mont Rose, which you've seen probably on 2 episodes at least already. And the body is almost done. Truthfully, the sweater is almost done, and I just need to not be distracted by other projects. Good luck, which hopefully this weekend will be the weekend to finish this. So this is a pattern by Sophie Lucente, or Lucente. I never pronounce it right. It's called Mont Rose. It is a top-down colorwork sweater with inlay. So some of these are your traditional stitches, and some of them the colorwork, the contrast color is brought to the front and brought across like an embroidery type stitch. And there will be some more of the red on the body. This is a camel brown color. It's looking a little grayer on my camera. So the camel color, here we go, is sport weight. It is alpaca and wool from Twist of Fate Spinnery. And now the red is from Galler Yarns. It's Will You Be My Baby in the colorway Valentine. Also, it is a blend of baby alpaca and merino. This one is just alpaca and wool. It's both sport weight. I think it's very elegant. Yes, again, there's the red. It's super soft thanks to where the red is, thanks to the Suri. So I'm at the point where I'm gonna do, it has a pretty like petal scalloped edge with the camel color, that's the back, and then the red kind of at the bottom itself. So I am ready to start doing those. They use short rows, wrap and turns, which I'm gonna try to check the video that is recommended, the tutorial, because I don't always do wrap and turn short rows the right way. I sometimes have a problem resolving them, which I don't really understand because some of my friends love wrap and turns. For the short rows, for example, in the sweater, I always prefer to have short rows to raise the back neck of my sweaters, unless it's a very open neckline to begin with. But if that's the case, I usually use German short rows and not wrap and turns. I have done Japanese short rows before also, those are fine, but I'm going to see what kind of tutorial is recommended. I think Pearl Soho has some notes on rapid turns that I've looked at before also, so I might refer to those. Okay, I want to jump back to this. Well, I'll come back to it in a minute. Those are my 2 works in progress. I'm going to talk a bit about a couple of other finished objects. So I started taking a ceramics class this spring. I felt like I really wanted to sort of just expand my kind of creative pursuits. I wanted to try something new and really be a beginner. Not a new technique of knitting, but try a whole new craft. And I have showed a few things on the channel here that I have made. And I have quite a few more that I brought home in the recent weeks. So I'm going to show those to you now. So, and I've been doing wheel thrown pottery. We also have hand building, or we have a slab roller, and amazing materials. It's actually taught not by I work in a high school, and it's held in one of our ceramics classrooms, but it's an evening class. The teacher is not related to the school directly, but she teaches for continuing education. So I have made a bunch of designs. I am really working on technique, basically getting my centering done well, trying to make my sides even and straight if possible, or now I'm trying to shape my design. So I made a little series of these white bowls, and I put a heart on a square on each of them. Here's the third one. And then I did one where I reversed the colors. So, and the heart and the little square they sit on are from slab. I'm just using cookie cutters, believe it or not. So I thought that was a lot of fun. I also, hold on. Then I just did a little practice, or I guess I just didn't feel like attaching this to one of my other bowls. So I glazed these 2 with a slightly different glaze. So they're a cream and a higher gloss. Those whites are a matte gloss. These are glossy. So this is a bowl. And this one I'm really happy with how the shape came out. I think it was more even and kind of more open, which is something I'm starting to work on now. And then, so that's that series. Then I did another series of vessels, and one of the other students, it's sort of an open studio format, so people can work on whatever they want to work on, and the teacher floats around the room and helps and stuff. So I had more of these cylinders, and I used a different color glaze. This one came out kind of cool, the way the glaze worked from like a green to a blue. I didn't really do anything special. I just painted it all on. We paint our glaze. I feel like glazing is a different skill in itself. And so I don't know too much about it. I love the way the inside of that came out. And I put a flower mounted on a square on each of these 3. So I have this one, and this one, which is slightly different in shape. It's angled out a little bit more. And is this the one? Yeah. No, I don't know. One of them has some strange coloring around it. And these I'm using as planters for Thanksgiving holiday. I have some small arrangements of flowers, and they are gonna sit in each of these. Oh yeah, this one, the bottom has a little bit of a strangeness to the glazing here. It's sort of bubbled. Yeah. And I have one more to show. So this is a bowl, and I was really happy that I got was able to kind of create a different shape before the sides fell apart. I didn't love the color that I originally glazed it, and so I did it for a second glazing, and the inside looks kind of scrappy, I think, but the outside I was able to get 2 coats on, and I like it a lot more. So That is a little bit of ceramics, pottery, clay class, show and tell. Okay, I have a couple of acquisitions, and I also want to talk briefly about things I'm planning to knit to get on the needles next. So let's start with, I already showed you the buttons. Let me jump to this, back to this. So when I was steeking this, you have to reinforce your steek somehow. And I have typically done a crochet reinforcement, which, let's see if I can pop this open and show you. Well, there's a little bit of it right here. That's a crochet, which I just chain. Oh, that's not it. It's this gray, this darker gray line here. I just do a chain crochet of either side of the center where I'm going to be cutting. That's what I've done before. I watched a video on needle felting and I thought, gosh, that seems kind of fun, but I didn't have any tools for it. And so I went and ordered a felting needle online. However, I decided it was going to be really challenging to see where to punch for this whole body, since it was just, I did do it as a steek, but it was all just gray, and I felt like it was going to be hard to see. So I just did my crochet reinforcement. I will try to use that the next time I steek a sweater. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of things next. So these are two things that I plan to knit in 2025. But the first is this gorgeous dusty, it's not called Dusty Rose, it's called Tanakh. And it's from the Ginger Needle, who is Melanie, and she's out of California, and she is an aerospace engineer, but as her hobby or creative endeavor, she dyes yarn. And I just really find her interpretations super interesting. Did I know this was a Dusty Rose? I'm not sure. Am I disappointed? Not at all. This is her MCN 801010 base, and I have 4 skeins of it. I did have a gift card. I had won a gift card to her shop, and so that paid for almost 2 of them. And my thought is to use this to knit another Go-Go Dynamo shawl, which is this year's West Knits, Stephen West Mystery Knit Along, but I'd like to knit one that's monochromatic. I think I'll put some Suri in, which might not make it exactly monochromatic, but I think that will be really, really pretty. Some projects were that way, so I decided to acquire that. So this will be going into a 2025 project. I could not help myself but jump on a destash that I found on Facebook. If you want a little more information on destashes, or where I look for destashes, I think it's episode 2 or 3 where I talked a bit about sources for destashes. This is Magpie Fibers. Oh, my light is making it kind of Magpie Fibers, nest worsted, 100% non-superwash Corriedale, 210 yards. It's called Twilight Rose. It's purple. And I think it's an okay color for me. I don't have a lot of purple. I don't wear a lot of purple. It's like a putty, like a brown purple. I think in the pictures I thought it was going to be more brown. I'm not disappointed. I think I'm going to turn this into a Hana sweater by Yonko Okamoto. I was thinking of knitting that sweater in Daylights from Harrisville, which I'd never used, Daylights or Nightshades. But now I have this, and I have just the amount I need. So that sweater is a pieced cable motif sort of patchwork and very oversized. And it then has, those pieces are stitched together using a visible edging. So I have to see what I would use with this, but I'm sure I have something. And so I'm kind of keen to use it on that. It was a total coincidence that I saw it and purchased it, and then I was still thinking I was going to use the Daylights, and then the Daylights I was thinking of using was the red, and it looked a little pinky in the pictures to me, not white, and I have plenty of white, but I really wouldn't want a full pink sweater. So then I realized I had this, and it works. So I'm pretty sure this is what it will become. Okay, and This is now a bit about what I am going to make next and what I acquired. So next up, one of the next things on my needles is the Icing on the Cake vest by Beth Macdonald Stone, and I am planning to knit it in this spectacular Suri Silk DK by Fiber Macgyver, my friend Susie, in the colorway Shaddix, named after our friend Mary Beth. Named and inspired by, because Mary Beth has this gorgeous red hair. I had already gotten 3 skeins, and I got a little nervous it wasn't enough. So Susie was dyeing more of this base. This base was, well, I don't know everything she went through to get it, but when before she was actually actively dyeing it, we were chatting about what kind of bases I thought would be great for her to bring in, and a heavier Suri was on my wish list. So, but I couldn't just get this color. I have no plans for this. So this is Shaddix, this is Bondi, and this is Clow. And I think they're fabulous together, even though that's not really my plan unless I have a lot of Shaddix left, or I'm inspired to figure out what else to make and order more. These will go into something. I just couldn't not do it. I didn't go to Rhinebeck Friends. I treated myself. And in typical Susie fashion, my orders always include something. So this one included sticker, Fiber Macgyver. It included some tubing, a big cut of green tubing, and these very adorable owl needle stoppers. One is gray and one is brown. I love that. So thank you, Susie. That was very, very sweet to put in some extras to my yarn order. So yes, that will be coming up soon. I do have to watch my gauge because I knit the Icing on the Cake cowl as part of the test group, but I didn't really watch my gauge, and I knit it in this base in a pink color called Renegade, which is spectacular, but it came out quite a lot larger, which was fine for a cowl, but for a garment is something to be cautious of. Okay, 2 other things I thought I would mention that are probably going to go on my needles very soon. A sweater for Todd. So I also acquired, at the same time I bought the camel colored yarn that I'm using in the Mont Rose, I brought a dark kind of brown gray for my husband for a sweater from Twist of Fate Spinnery. It is a worsted weight yarn. It's also 50% alpaca, 50% wool. The put up is 250 yards, so that's pretty generous. I think this is going to become a Riddari, which is a pattern by, I'm looking at my phone because I have my notes on here. Vedis Jonsdottir for Istex. So it's designed in Let Lopey, and I just have to make sure that my gauge is going to work okay for it, or that I can convert my gauge to whatever the pattern calls for. So I have to take a look. That is a multicolored collar neck yoke sweater. I'm thinking I will add this dark brown from Hilltop Farm. That's their tag. These are all worsted. Maybe some navy from Vitalana, which I received from a knit crate giveaway someone was doing, and maybe this burnt orange. So let's swap that around. Yeah, the bottom would be the main color, and the burnt orange is Forge from Hudson and West. That's their worsted. So I think that's really nice, but we'll see if I get the right gauge to do that. And then the last thing I thought I would mention to you, and maybe you'll have an opinion you could share with me, is my friend Shannon, who is Whiskey and Wool, told me about a mystery knit along that occurs during Advent. I'm just pulling it up on my phone here. So it is called Fair Isle Mitten MKALendar. And some amount of the pattern is released, sort of like the West Knits mystery knit along, but it's not a whole shawl. It's a pair of Fair Isle mittens, or fingerless mitts or flip top mitts. I think I'm gonna do the mittens. So I think this sounds like fun. And you knit one mitten and then the other. So I went stash diving for some possibilities. So maybe you have an opinion on what I should pursue. I think I'm missing a ball somewhere, but you'll get the idea. So one idea is to use some brights. The blue here would be a main color, and all of these other neons and brights. I have a green, I have some scraps of yellow, I have a peach and a pink. I have a purple that has black with this, which are sort of they're two different. I have a third that's a lot closer, but I think for a color work it'd be fine for mittens. So that's one idea, is to use all of these together. And another idea is to, let's say, tone it down. And I have a pretty like medium to dark gray and a cream color. These are both quince finch, so they're 50 gram skeins and 220 yards each. I could probably get might even be able to get 2 pairs of mittens out of this. And it is, does it say hand? Nope. Pinch. American wool, 100% American wool. So I think these would be pretty classic. I have no idea what the pattern looks like. So, and that is by Susanna Winter. And so Shannon and Beth and I we were all participating in the West Knits Mystery Knit Along Shawl. So we had our own little chat group in addition to the larger community groups as we were going. And that was really fun. So I had a lot of fun doing that with friends. So I think I would like to do that again. I do also have one skein of self-striping yarn. It is from Freckled Whimsy. We're not supposed to open it until December 1st, so I did peek. I forgot, I just peeked. I put it back away. We're supposed to wind it on December 1st, which since it's a Sunday, I will. I have knit socks before. I'm tempted to do some mittens instead. I have plenty of socks, and I have so much sock yarn. But I have a couple of pairs of fingerless mitts, but not as many pairs of mittens. So I'm tempted to do a second pair of mittens, which would be fine, would be great. But I would really like to get a couple of things finished in December. So I have the sweater for Todd, maybe 2 pairs of mittens, the vest, and I do have some Noro in Ito, which is an Aran weight yarn, and my idea was to knit a cardigan out of that. So we will see how far along I get. I do have some time off in December since I work at a school. We'll see. Thank you for sticking with me. If you've gotten this far, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And I wish you, if you're observing, a happy Thanksgiving holiday. And if not, just a good weekend, and I will see you soon. Take care.